Sri Jiva Gopalako. So this Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami, they Nana Shastra, they're Vichara Naika, they Nana Shastra, so many Shastras they researched, Vichara, they did Vichara on. And they're extremely Nipuna, expert in the study of scriptures. They did this extensive study and they wrote wonderful books. And this Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, which is translated by Prabhupada as Nectar of Devotion, is a very wonderful book, which is available in our gift store also here. So Matchless store, bookstore, so you can purchase it. It's a wonderful book. So in that, he talks that the Swayam Rupa is that feature of Lord Krishna in Vrindavan who never leaves Vrindavana. So the Krishna in Vrindavana, he never leaves Vrindavana. Though Mathura is the birthplace of Krishna, actually, even though Mathura is the birthplace of Krishna, now how can you say he never leaves Vrindavan? So he has to be in Vrindavan too. But if you read the Bhagavatam 10th canto, Prabhupada very nicely gives the purport how Krishna appeared in Gokula as well as in Mathura. And that is why, if you see in society, many people also call Krishna Janmashtami as Gokulashtami. Because he also appeared in Gokula and he appeared in Mathura. He appeared twice. The same time he appeared in two different places. Then when Vasudev brings him, it's there in the Bhagavatam of Prabhupada, purport, 10th canto. When Vasudeva brings him, then Mathura Krishna and Vrindavan Krishna, they both become together there. And he takes Yogamaya. So actually Yashoda had two births. One the Yogamaya and one is Vrindavan Krishna. So that's why it's called Gokulashtami. So Krishna actually never leaves Vrindavan. He's always in Vrindavan that way. And this confidential secret or Siddhanta has only been revealed by the Gaudiya Acharyas. So it's a great treasure that we have. So this Swayam Rupa, the Nectar of Devotion, chapter 26, further divides the Swayam Rupa. So we studied about how Bhagavatam talks about Swayam Bhagavan to Swayam Rupa. Swayam Rupa is further divided into three categories now. And there's a lot more, but we'll stop here. There's three categories. One is the Pauganda Rupa. So Pauganda Rupa. Next is the Kaishora Rupa, the Kishora, the Kaumara, Kishora, and Pauganda, the ages. And the other is Kishora, and the other is Kaumara Rupa. And then, so I'm going to read here from Nectar of Devotion itself. I've copied and pasted here. Krishna's age is considered in three periods. From his appearance day to the end of his 5th year is called Kaumara. So this Kaumara pastimes, whatever happened during this time, is known to be the epitome of the embodiment of Vatsalya Rasa. Later I will talk about how we have these different rasas in our philosophy of Vatsalya Rasa, Sakya Rasa, Dhasya Rasa, and all this. So Kaumara, from the beginning of 6th year to up to the end of 10th year is called Pauganda. And the Pauganda, it was the embodiment of Sakya Rasa. He had all his friends. He showed a lot of Sakya Rasa. And from the 10th year to 15th year, 11th to 15th year is called Kaishora or Kishore. After the beginning of 16th year, Krishna is called a youth. Yauvana, he's called a youth, and this continues with no change. So as far as Krishna's transcendental pastimes are considered, they are mostly executed during the Kaumara. So where I'm coming to is that Damodar Lila happened in Kaumara. So I'm slowly coming there. Kaumara, Pauganda, and Kaishora. These three periods are where mostly his pastimes happened. All his Leelas happened in Kaumara, Pauganda, and Kaishora periods. His affectionate pastimes with his parents are executed during his Kaumara age. His friendship with the cowherd boys is exhibited during the Pauganda period. And his friendship with the gopis is exhibited during the age of Kaishora. So the Kaishora age, that one is the embodiment of Shringara Rasa or Madhurya Rasa. Yeah. So Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan are finished by the age of 15 years of his age. And then Prabhupada writes in Nectar of Devotion, and then he is transferred to Mathura and Dwaraka, where all the other pastimes are performed. So those pastimes are kept separate. Srila Rupa Goswami, Prabhupada writes, continues, has given a vivid description of Krishna as the reservoir of all pleasure in his Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. And here are some parts of that description, and he continues to write there. So he talks about that in the Nectar of Devotion further. And so because Bhagavatam, as I described, already has a very unique position in the literatures, among all the Vedic literatures, the 10th canto, which is exclusively about the Swayam Bhagavan Sri Krishna, as a Krishna of Vrindavana, as a Krishna of Mathura, as a Krishna of Dwaraka, it has been given a very exalted position in the whole Srimad Bhagavatam itself. And as you know, Prabhupada very early on, he translated Krishna book. And in his Chaitanya Charitamrita purpose, Prabhupada says, 4 most important books are very important for all the devotees. The Bhagavad Gita, the Bhagavatam, the Chaitanya Charitamrita, and the Nectar of Devotion. These 4 are mandatory for all people. Then later he gives one exception. For elderly gentlemen and people, he says Krishna book is enough. So, this one Krishna book is enough to take you back to God. It is 10th canto, it is the most exalted position. And then within the 10th canto also there is exalted sections of the Bhagavatam and like the Ras Panchadhyaya and all these. So they have like it's considered the Pancha Prana of Krishna itself. Anyway, so we're not going there today. It's exclusively about the Swayam Bhagavan as a Krishna of Vrindavana, Mathura, and Dwaraka. So it has been given a very exalted position, as I said. And then if you take the Bhagavatam 10th canto, you know how many total chapters are there in the Bhagavatam 10th canto? 90 chapters. There also, Vyasadeva makes a very, very beautiful distinction. The first 45 chapters, he dedicates to Vrindavan Krishna. And the next 45 chapters, he dedicates to Mathura and Dwaraka Krishna. Of course, from 41, 42, he's slowly transitioning, going to Kamsa, and 44, 45, he kills Kamsa. But still there also, he exchanges his Vrindavan rasas with Nanda, Yashoda, everyone who are seated in the wrestling arena of Kamsa. So very beautifully, all this is more described in our books by Nectar of Devotion. So anyway, first 45 chapters are dedicated to Krishna before he goes and settles in Mathura. And the next 45 chapters of all the pastimes in Mathura and Dwaraka accomplished there. Okay, and another instance of this is also given in Chaitanya Charitamrita. In Antya Lila, in the beginning of Antya Lila, Rupa Goswami actually starts writing a nataka called Vidagdha Madhava. In Antya Lila it comes. So he starts writing this drama and on his way to, I think he goes to Puri, Orissa he's traveling to. And that time in the night he gets a dream. Satyabhama comes in his dream. Satyabhama. And she says, and in that Vidagdha Madhava, the drama which is written in a draft format, he wrote both about Krishna as Vrindavana and Krishna and Dwaraka also. And she said, you write, Satyabhama says, you write about me, Dwaraka, Krishna, Mathura separately. So then he wrote 2 books, Vidagdha Madhava and Lalita Madhava, that one. And these 2 books were personally read by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I heard. And this is the only work, Goswami work, that he actually read, is what I understand. And he extremely appreciated those 2 natakas of Rupa Goswami, Vidagdha Madhava and Lalita Madhava. So yeah, that's another instance where 2 books were kept separate. And as you know, there is no difference between the Lila and Swarupa and Godhead. And that is why both the Lila and Swarupa are personified in the 10th canto. And especially the first 45 chapters has been given a very, very high position because it contains the highest, the Shringa Madhurya Rasa, Vatsalya Rasa, Sakhya Rasa, all at the topmost levels. Of course, Krishna, see, he had Rasa, Shringara Rasa with Rukmini, Satyabhama, and 16,000 wives also. But with the gopis, it's the highest position, right? So that chapter, that Shringara Rasa, that mellow takes a very high position, which is in the first 45 chapters of Krishna Lila and Srimad Bhagavatam. So, and because we are talking about Rasa, the Bhagavatam actually right in the beginning talks about, this book is about Rasa, by saying Nigama kalpataror galitam phalam shukamukad amrita dravasamyutam pibata bhagavatam rasamalayam puharaho rasika bhuvi bhavuka. See, all other shastras also give about absolute truth. There's so many Vishnu Puranas also there, this Purana, that Purana, Upanishad, everything is there. But this Bhagavatam gets a very unique position, as I said before, just because of the quality of rasa that it presents. And that is why, because of that, it is called the ripened fruit, Galitam Phalam, of that Vedic desire tree, that tree of all Shastras, of not only Shastras, of all knowledge that is ever mundane or anything, whatever knowledge, it gets the most ripened fruit, Galitam Phalam, because of the position of rasa, that the quality of rasa that it presents. And in the Taittiriya Upanishad also it comes, Raso Vaisa, that Krishna is rasa and is captured by rasa. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, every katha, whether it's Dhruva, Prahalad, every katha is told specifically to bring out a certain rasa, that emotional exchange between the Supreme Lord and the devotee. And especially the first 9 cantos prepare us. If you see, the first 9 cantos mainly talk about Dhasya Rasa, like Prahalad, Dhruva, Bhishma, everyone. Slowly it is bringing us, preparing our consciousness to understand the highest topics, highest mellows, highest rasas, highest rasa, emotional exchange of relationship between Krishna and his topmost devotees, which second line is Ramya Kachid Upasana Vrajavadu Vatkenave, to follow in the footsteps of the highest devotees. So what are these rasas? There are 5 primary and 7 secondary rasas. 5 primary being Shanta, then there is Dhasya, which I said, then Sakhya, Vatsalya, so Sakhya is friendship, Vatsalya parental, and Madhurya or Shringara, which is the conjugal love that Krishna had. And then there are 7 secondary rasas, such as Hasya, laughter, Adbhuta, wonder, Veera rasa, the chivalry, and Karuna rasa, Raudra, Vibhatsa, the ghastliness, Bhayanaka, fear mellow. So he gave that, like, for example, fear mellow to Kamsa, who always had. So he exchanged that mellow with himself. So he has had all these 7 secondary rasas. So even within the main devotees, for example, Sakya, they will have Hasya rasa, they will exchange laughter. So they all have these 5 main mellows. Those devotees, they also are endowed with these smaller 7 secondary mellows, and all the other avatars also. But Krishna, he is full in rasa. That's why the Nectar of Devotion, Rupa Goswami begins with a verse called Akhila Rasamrita Murti, that he is the personification, he's Akhila, full and complete in all these 12 rasas. Whereas other avatars don't have this rasa in full. And then they're like Kila Rasamrita Murti. Lord Rama has only 9 out of 12 out of the rasas. So that is the position of this Bhagavatam's presenting rasa. Yashrinvatam rasajnanam svadu svadu pade pade. That this rasajnana, as we understand it philosophically, like Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Janma karma chame divyam evam yoveti tattvataha. He said the Janma karma chame divyam, which are transcendental, divine, divyam, the Janma karma activities of Krishna, they are not to be understood like some storytelling, So we are not storytellers here. They all have to be understood philosophically. Janma karma chame divyam evam yoveti tattvataha, in tattva, in science. Krishna, kiba vipra kiba inasa shudra kenano, ye Krishna tattva veta. Whoever knows Krishna tattva, say Guru. So it has to be understood Krishna tattva. Janma karma has to be understood. There's rasa tattva, there's Rasha Shastra of Bhagavatam, rasa jnana, swadu swadu pade pade. And then there's a beautiful verse in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, which says, Arasagnya kaka chushe jnana nimba phale, rasagnya kokila khaya premamra mukule. Ramananda Roy's discussion, he says, those who are devoid of all transcendental mellows are like crows that suck the juice from the bitter fruit of the nimba tree of knowledge. Whereas those who enjoy mellows are like the cuckoos who eat the buds of the mango tree of love of Godhead. So Shastras in some way, the Vishnu Purana, this Purana may have mellows to a smaller extent, but knowledge, any knowledge which is devoid, especially mostly mundane knowledge, speculative knowledge, which is devoid of this kind of exchange of mellows between the Supreme Lord and his devotees. It's like, are like crows that suck juice from that bitter fruit of a nimba tree. So that's another beautiful one. And so, because this first half describes all these Vatsalya Rasa, Sakhya Rasa, and Shringara Rasa to the topmost extent, the Vatsalya Bhava exchange between Mother Yashoda and Krishna is also the topmost. So in the Nectar of Devotion, chapter 43, Krishna, Prabhupada writes, summarizes the Nectar of Devotion of Rupa Goswami saying, following is the list of respectable personalities who enjoy parental affection towards Krishna. And at the end he writes, this is in order of importance. Okay. First, Mother Yashoda. Second, Maharaj Nanda. Third, Mother Rohini. Fourth, the elderly gopis whose sons were taken away by Lord Brahma. 5, Devaki. 6, the other 15 wives of Vasudeva. 7, Kunti, the mother of Arjuna. 8, Vasudeva, the real father of Krishna. 9, Sandipani Muni, Krishna's teacher. All these are considered respectable elderly personalities with parental love for Krishna. The list is an order of superior importance. And thus we can see that Mother Yashoda and Maharaj Nanda are considered to be the supermost of all elderly personalities. And so Yashoda, she embodies that exchange with Krishna, the epitome of Vatsalya Rasa. Krishna, who cannot be controlled by anyone. First of all, the verse says, Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vikra. Anadir Adir Govinda Sarva Karana Karana. He's a cause of all causes. He's a controller of all controllers. Bhuktaram Yajna Tapasam Sarva Loka Maheshwaram. And to him, all the people like Brahma, Varuna, Indra, Maruts, everyone prayed to him by saying, Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Maruta Stunvanti Divyaistuvai Vede Sangha Pada Kramonishadai Gayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyana Vastita Tad Gatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yogino Yasyartam Na Vidu Sura Sura Gana Devata Tasmai Devaya Tasmai Namaha. To that personality who Brahma, Varuna, Indra, Rudra, and Maruts praise by chanting Divyaistuvai, by chanting great transcendental hymns. Veda, Sangha, and all the Vedas and their corollaries, Padakramas, Upanishads, and the chanters of Samaveda are always singing the glories of this personality. To whom these perfected yogis, Dhyana Vastita Tad Gatena Manasa, Pashyanti Yam Yogino, they're all doing dhyana and fixing themselves in transcendental meditation and absorbing the Supreme Lord within him, and whose limit can never be found. Yasyantam na vidhu, sura asura, deva. To such a personality, I offer my pranam. Devaya tasmai namaha, says Shukadev Goswami. To such a personality, Yashoda nicely tied him up. She controlled him. He got conquered and controlled by Yashoda. So that's why this Damodar Lila, it's an epitome of Vatsalya Bhava. Ye prayaso jita ajita ajita api astais trilokyam. In the Bhagavatam, is jnane prayaso. In that verse, in the last one, it says he can be controlled, he can be conquered by this love, this exchange of love in these rasas. Krishna, who's fully Swarat, fully independent, he was conquered by Yashoda. So that is the position of the Damodar Lila, which takes the highest Vatsalya Bhav of the exchange between Krishna. And then the highest exchange of Shringara Rasa comes further in a few chapters later, where he exchanges the mellows of Shringara Madhurya with all the gopis. So, I was also asked to speak a little about the benefits of Damodar Masa. And the Damodar, the Kartik Masa, you have the Nectar of Devotion gives, and there's a lot of PDFs on the internet that you can get. If you offer a lamp, this will happen. If you do this, this will happen. If you do this, so many sins will get erased. There's so many benefits and things. But application comes only when we understand Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinaha. Rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. By practicing bhakti, slowly we have to get the taste. Rasavarjam rasopyasya. It cannot, even though it is mechanical as sadhana bhakti, the more we read Prabhupada books, the more we understand his philosophy, the more we associate with his devotees. And depending on the association, how we associate with devotees, how to associate with devotees is also given in the nectar of instruction, by exchanging gifts, by revealing one's mind, all those, the 6 things, how you have to interact with devotees. So by revealing one's mind too, you have to reveal how much by exchanging realization, exchanging philosophy, assimilating what you've studied, discussing what you've learned. So by doing so, only then our taste will slowly increase. Once we even this book, Nectar of Devotion, it's not like a book we can just understand like that, because it's got such, usually in the Bhakti Shastri, they've only been given some 18 or 16 chapters, something like that. The first 19 chapters. But after that we stop, and then it's never read further. But all the great siddhantas of the Bhagavatam, how the Bhagavatam should be understood in the Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara, is all only given in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, is all only given in Chaitanya Charitamrita. The book Bhagavad Gita and the book Bhagavatam is very common to all other sampradayas. But they cannot understand the Vatsalya Rasa, like we're doing Damodar Lila. Why this? It's a 5-minute story. Krishna stood there, he did not, he walked like this, and then Yashoda tied. It's a 5-minute story. But having a deity of Yashoda Damodar like this is not done in any other parampara, because they don't understand the importance of the rasa, even though it is there in Padma Purana, even though the story is known to all the sampradayas. They don't know the position of this exchange of rasa, and that can be only understood through rasikas, and those rasikas are like Shukadev Goswami, and everyone coming in the parampara of the Gaudiya Vaishnava parampara, Srila Prabhupada, Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. So Bhagavatam, that's why it has to be understood in a disciplic succession through parampara, through these rasikas. Or else, there's always internet, Google, we can go and read. That is not the whole idea. To understand why this importance of Vatsalya Bhava, why we are giving importance to Sakya Rasa, why we are giving importance to all these different rasas, and why this Damodar Lila has such a high position is very important to understand. So as I said, so even though it's common to all Vaishnava Paramparas, it's this, the Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita, our philosophy, our rasa, how the Bhagavatam's rasa is understood, is all presented in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, which has another unique position to understand Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy and Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. So with that, so the benefits are, as you know, it's a great auspicious month. So you have to, they suggest you chant more rounds. Some people also do different diet restrictions. But these diet restrictions should not be done for losing weight or something. It should be done so that I can practice more bhakti. I have more time to, read or study or, do certain things. So if it's at least 1 month, if we can put that extra effort and try, many people go to Vrindavan and chant more rounds and, practice. And because it is also said in the Shastra, in Nectar of Devotion especially, comes that if you go to the holy place like Vrindavan, practice the Kartik Mass, then the result is even more amplified. So you can always do Vrindavan. Temple is also Vrindavan, smaller Vrindavan, and try to apply the teachings of Srila Prabhupada by chanting, reading Prabhupada books. If you haven't read, then you can take this as your vow. Usually many of us take a vow in New Year. January 1st this year I'll do this. So you can take a vow in Kartik Mass also. Kartik Mass to Kartik Mass, or just this month, and try to increase our bhakti and understand our shastras, especially the books of Srila Prabhupada, and absorb this philosophy. So class was till 6:30, so I'll conclude here. Any questions? Anything to share also I can share. Questions, correct me. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you so much for nice class. I just want to know, can you repeat one those names? Those who are very close devotee to Krishna, like 9 person. You say some name.
The parents.
Parents.
Then in the 43rd chapter, the following is the list of personalities who exchange Vatsalya, the parental affection, with Krishna. In order: Mother Yashoda, second, Maharaj Nanda, third, Mother Rohini, fourth, the elderly gopis whose sons were taken away by Lord Brahma. You know that during Brahma Vimon Lila, Krishna expands, so he exchanges Mother Lila with them also. Yeah. So 5, Devaki. So they got an elderly position than Devaki, those mothers. 6, the 15 wives of Vasudeva. 7, Kunti. 8, Vasudeva, the real father of Krishna. 9, Sandipani Muni, Krishna's teacher. So all these are considered respectable, and this is given an order of importance. So Mother Yashoda and Nanda are considered to be the supermost of all the elderly personalities. In 41, 42, 43, there's one whole chapter dedicated to Sakya Rasa, Vatsalya Rasa, Dasya Rasa. Everything is there. On that, the whole list is there. Chapter 43. Hare Krishna. Sure, Prabhu.
Mother Yashoda is the Jiva Tattva and Krishna is the Vishnu Tattva, Damodar. Can we place them together? See, they kept in separate altar. Can we keep them in the altar, in the house, along with the other Vishnu Tattvas and worship together?
It's a question of DT ministry, but Mother Yashoda is actually internal energy of Krishna. She's internal energy, spiritual energy, but Pramonita Prabhu DT ministry will answer. You'll tell later. It can be kept in Vrindavan also, many temples. Order DT ministry. They only should tell better. I'm not so expert in the DT. Further discussion after class. So anything else? Nothing online. No? We'll conclude.
Madhura, Rupa Madhura, which are other two?
He has 4 extra. The one is that he plays the flute. That one. Yeah. Lila.
Rupa Madhurya and Venu Madhurya too. Prema Madhurya is there? One total 4 are there.
4 are there. Yeah. It's not coming to my mind. Lila.
Lila, Venu Madhurya, Rupa Madhurya.
Lila and Madhurya, he exchanged a loving relationship with the gopis and all that. That comes in Prema, huh?
I think, yeah. Prema Madhurya, Lila Madhurya, Venu Madhurya, Rupa Madhurya.
Yeah. That's it. We'll conclude. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Yashoda Damodar ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jai Gaur Premanand.